Hey there folks, let's pull up a chair and let's talk about the Monaco Grand Prix, the 2022 edition, and well, there are some stories that we could have from up and down the field. Firstly, we had that hour's rain delay, which, well, I saw a lot of people complaining like, oh, it's obviously not that wet, and then we saw the cars pulling away, and this is something we need to think about with this new era of cars, is they are going to be very susceptible to the weather, and in the name of safety, these kinds of delays will be more common. Now the reason being is, so much more of those aerodynamics that they're talking about is generated from the underside of the car. So because that's the case, what happens when you lose all of that? I mean, we've talked about porpoising year round, haven't we? And the problems of aerodynamic stall and what that could do for a car. We've seen some very impressive crashes when cars bottom out. We saw another one today for Mick Schumacher. So I completely understand that rain delay. And we got going again. It was nice to see the kind of gamble on inters or no. Pierre Gasly put off some fantastic moves. Of course, he was involved in the only attempt at an overtake we had last year. And it led to Lewis Hamilton going, this could be a good idea. Only to get, I think, a bit over-exuberant in attempting to move on over to Esteban Ocon, who turned in when Lewis was there. Ocon picking up a 5-second time penalty for his troubles. But for Lewis, that wasn't the end of it, because he got stuck behind Alonso for the rest of the race. And again, on a dry Monaco track, very hard to overtake. These cars are better at following than the previous generation of cars, but that doesn't make them exactly that good at following, especially considering the size of them and things. Maybe we need a second DRS zone back, that kind of run from the Nouvelle Chicane to round by Tabac. Maybe we need that second DRS zone back. Maybe we need to try and see if we can put one in the tunnel now, since there have been more buildings going up, which potentially could alleviate any concerns about any winds. Plus, look at a place like Saudi Arabia. It's possible to have flat out corners of big DRS zones now, so you never know. You could easily bring back more DRS zones at Monaco. But yeah, Alonso held Lewis back to not only finish 7th, but also beat Ocon for the first time this season. Now, that was going to be about 4 seconds the gap, but then Ocon, of course, got his 5-second penalty for the collision with Lewis, which dropped him down to 12 and out of the points. Now, up towards the top end of the points, George Russell, another top 5. He has had a fantastic start to the season. And, you know what? He probably could have done a bit better had he lucked out a bit early and run with the tyre gambles like Lewis had. And this is the thing, and it feeds this kind of narrative we've been hearing from Mercedes, which is that Lewis is now doing all of the kind of more out there strategies, and George is playing it safer, which I think is really cool. I really like the dynamic that's going on there now. And I think the dynamic with Lewis and Valtteri was good before, and obviously for no exchange of those images, the print of Bottas, so I guess what was he, Valtteri Bottas in Colorado. There's still that good rapport between them. But I feel like that's also there with George, but it's in a different kind of space. But either way, Bottas got points again, 9th place. Vettel got points for 10th, which is really good for him and for Aston to have. Lando getting 6th, that was good for him. But 4th place Charles Leclerc is going to be annoyed. Ferrari doing a Mercedes Germany 2019 event. No, stay out. Or, same thing happened to Kimi, didn't it? From what I remember. Can't remember when, though, right now. But, yeah, he lost out from that. Though Ferrari's strategy was so off today. The Red Bulls were able to double stack on, I think, both occasions and get out back in front, despite the fact that Verstappen had a really slow stop. And, of course, there was that unsafe pit exit where he crossed the line. And there are no two ways around it. He did cross the pit exit line. I would argue that even if it was like part of a tyre, he willingly did that because it was going to get him back onto the track faster. There's no kind of, it was understeer or oversteer, or loss of control of the car. But the stewards decided to take no action about it because something like, the race director's notes allowed it because for some reason they weren't up to date with the rulebook. The FIA is spectacular sometimes. I thought that we were gone with these kinds of issues when the sassy Australian departed, but yeah, it's it's an interesting one. Though, I will say one other interesting point, because I haven't got to talk about the top two. Sergio Perez, really happy for him to win. I think out of that top four, it was either him or Leclerc for me, and Leclerc getting fourth, after the fact that he's never finished at home before. That would cost him the podium, the Ferrari master plan. I think that he's gone on to a suboptimal strategy by pitting late for the Inters. So, yeah, I think that fourth was kind of deserved as well. But Perez and Sainz were allowed to repair, and they both changed their gearboxes without any kind of penalty. Now, this is something I've never really understood. Because the FIA could just put in a waiver for cars breaking parc fermé. I get part of it's like, oh, they crashed in qualifying, but at the same time, they crashed. And especially with the conditions the way they were, it would have been awesome to have to see both Perez and Sainz charge their way through the pack, and maybe have to do different strategies because they took like a 5 or 10 place grid penalty, or even started from right at the back. How cool would that have been to see Perez and Sainz trying to do what Gasly did, or what Lewis ended up doing in the mid-pack? I think that would have made for an even better race. Now, sure, that would have meant it would be Verstappen or Leclerc taking the win. Potentially a Russell podium, which I'm never going to shy away from. Or even a Lando podium, for that matter. But I don't think it's on. I think that the FIA long used Massey as kind of cover for the fact that there are such inadequacies with their rulebook. As a last point of debate, does Monaco need to go? I think it's proven that it can produce good racing. And I would argue the best way to talk about that is looking at the Monaco Prix, which I said was the best Monaco race this season, and I think it was better than the Monaco Grand Prix. Again, though this was a good Monaco Grand Prix. But what needs to change is, well, the things that make Monaco struggle. And primarily, that's the fact that the cars are so big. And that the aero is so complicated that they can't follow each other. That would be the main thing for me. If we need to change anything about the Monaco Grand Prix, it's making it easier for the cars to follow each other again. And pass. Without having to risk a crash. And I think F1 could accomplish it with the RS, but just could make the cars smaller. You're not jeopardising safety or anything like that. Anyways, I've been talking for quite a while. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you again soon. Bye for now.